Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Corner. And
Sorry, I was trying a new sound, and that was the first thing.
That's definitely not. the
Sorry, I'm
sound.
surrounded
Like,
by small children.
my
most
kid
of my
makes
time.
my oldest boy makes these farting sounds all the time, so I'm kind of like, no.
Can I share with you? I don't know if this is appropriate for the air, but we just
Go
came
for
back
it.
from holiday in Gran Canaria, which
Yeah.
was awesome. And in the car, my stepson, who's 7, and my daughter, who's 2.5, started singing a song that was "Tis a man, do-do-do." And for those who don't speak Danish, that means penis.
Yeah, penis,
So
penis song.
So they were singing a song about penises.
Okay,
So on that note, speaking of penises, no.
episode 77, folks.
Sorry, it was just kids saying weird shit.
They're funny. We love
They
them.
are. We
Yeah.
keep them around
And
for a
then
reason.
then we kick him to bed, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, enough about
So,
penises.
thanks for tuning in, folks. That was 1 minute of G-foil of happy noises. But we're going to be jumping into it. So today's episode, as I said, is episode 77, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of an interesting topic. So Jen and I both face a little bit of the same issue in that we're both, let's call it, progressing in our careers. Jen, you're getting a large team. I have a team through my company.
Your team is larger than mine.
Wow, that's actually true. But that also means that we get less and less hands-on.
Correct.
So today's topic is going to be about what do you do as a marketeer when you move up the ranks, become more of a leader, and you become less of an executioner. How do you make sure you stay on point? How you make sure you still know your shit? Let's call it that. And to be honest, I think to be completely clear for the listeners, I don't think we have a good solution.
No, sorry guys.
Yeah.
This is more of a therapy episode.
It's more
for
of a
us.
therapy. It's more like
come
open
on a
sharing.
journey. Come on a journey
And
with
so,
us.
if you have any good suggestions after this episode, please chime in. We need you. But let's get to it. So, just in case you didn't get it, can you explain the problem slightly, Jennifer?
Yeah. So thanks for that, Casper. So I noticed recently that the higher I've grown in the organizational chart, the less hands-on I am with actual marketing.
Yeah.
So I looked at my calendar, and I think in a week I had 37 hours of meetings.
Wow.
And only 2 or 3 of them were actually marketing related.
Yeah.
It's people development. It's mostly people development, but also kind of company policies and company culture. And all of that is important. I'm not saying it's not, but as someone who lives and breathes marketing, case in point, we do a marketing podcast in our free time when we're not working in marketing.
Yeah, we can't get enough of marketing.
We can't get enough of it. But it's just interesting to me that the higher I go because I'm good at marketing, the less marketing I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
And this came to light relatively recently, where one of my direct reports asked for a sparring session on retargeting pixels and stuff like that. And I spent an hour and a half with him, and I was like, oh, I miss this so much.
Yeah.
So it was something I kind of positioned to you, Casper, of like, how do we stay true to our marketing roots
Yeah.
while we grow in the org chart? Because your job is no longer to be an individual contributor in IC. Your job is to oversee the well-being of a bunch of people, which takes a lot of time. So how do you balance that?
So as I said it earlier, I don't think there's a great solution. I think it's different from case to case, and I just think you and I will be different in how we have to do this. So for how I do it at Sparkforce, so I'm very well aware of this. So I'm the CEO. That means I have to do all the recruitment. That means I have to do all the accounting, the admin. Of course, I have people to help me with all these things, but I have to be on top of all that stuff. I have to, and one of the things I happen to be really good at is I'm also pretty good at sales. I'm really good. So I'm also the primary lead closer. Like when we get something to Sparkforce, I'm the one who drives the sales, most of it. Frederick does some, and Ethan a little bit too, but I definitely do 80% of it or something. Right. So, and it's cool. Like I do what I'm good at. And I also think I'm good at marketing. And then I have a few customers that I take care of, that I'm the growth lead on. But the point is, I don't do any ads anymore. Like,
Same.
Because that's why we have the specialists. So I tell them what to do. And we actually made a rule that I'm not allowed to get more clients right now. So we don't actually give me, like, whenever we sign new clients, I don't get to work with them. Like I might set the strategy and stuff, but I don't, because I'm capped out. Like I need to do so many other things. And the way we start to slowly free up time for me is whenever, unfortunately, at some point, we don't hope so, but some of the clients I have might churn. And then we just make a rule, okay, you don't get any new ones. And that's a natural way for me to progress into more and more leadership and less marketing.
Phasing out.
So that doesn't answer the question, but that also answers a slightly bit of it, because the small last piece of it is to say we also made a rule, I made a rule, that I will never go below 2 to 3. I think this number is probably going to be 3. I will always have 3 clients, no matter what.
Okay.
So I will always have 3 clients that I work on at any given time. And when I say work on, it will mean like I will meet with them regularly and talk about their marketing stuff. So that's the thing I do. But to be honest, I will lose my touch, Lisa, and I'm scared shitless of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not loving that part. Like I'm loving the way like I'm evolving, but I'm not loving this part. I would love to be the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to LinkedIn ads still.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I still know my shit. I'm still better than 90% out there, but I'm not better than the people on my team anymore. I don't think I am. Like,
Exactly.
Chris, who sits next to me, is a great guy from Latvia. He's 22 years old. I think he's better on LinkedIn ads than I am. Like, I don't think he is. Right, he's great.
Yeah.
And he might not know all the strategy aspects and stuff yet. He's a young kid, but he gets the platform. He gets all the technicalities. I ask him like hey Chris, can we do this? Like, yeah, we can do this. Cool. All right, let's do it.
I had a similar thing where I was talking. We did this big summit. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
We had like almost 1,000 people sign up for this summit, and I was like, oh, we can do geo-targeting. And apparently that's not really a thing anymore. I was like, but
It doesn't work that well.
Yeah. And I used to use that a lot, but like I used to use that 6 years ago when this was my job. And like I love what I do, and I love like overseeing people and like helping with the strategy. I'm not saying I regret my growth, but there are days where I miss the days of putting my headphones on, knocking out a bunch of ads, optimizing the ads, that little buzz. I still remember the buzz I got after getting my first conversion ever. Yeah. And that's gone now. Like now 991 leads in 1 week is not enough.
No, exactly.
And I have to sit in meetings, and so my focus is changing. And I guess the way I try to stay in touch with it is obviously this podcast helps a lot. I mentor, but a lot of the mentoring that I get is more leadership. Yeah. How do I deal with a difficult employee, or how do I deal in this situation? How do I progress in my career? Yeah. And I love helping people with that, but it's not marketing. No. I'm not doing like, let's do this retargeting strategy, or let's do this nurturing flow. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I have wonderful people. Like the people who work for me are better than I was when I was in that role. 100%. Yeah. But I'm the one now who makes the decisions. I'm the one who kind of guides them in the directions. But yeah, I think if like we have Tice is going on paternity leave. Congratulations, Tice.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
nice.
He's hopefully by the time this comes out, his baby girl has arrived. She's a couple of days late.
Awesome.
So he's going to be gone. He's our main digital guy. Yeah. And I'm like I'll happily help out, but I haven't been in the platform in a while.
Yeah, and I had to do some LinkedIn ads the other day, and like, don't get me wrong, I knew what to do. But like there was also like, I can't remember, there was some button that had moved or something. It's like, and it's like a slight thing, and I had asked Christian this thing, how long has this button been moved? And like he was like, yeah, maybe a month or so. Okay, that's why I don't know it. Okay. But that's embarrassing.
I had something yesterday with a HubSpot. I was trying to do a HubSpot filter, and I'm like, Tice?
Yeah.
The quick filter used to be over here.
I feel so old.
I feel like such awful. A boomer. Like, help me with this filter.
Yeah, but I don't know. I
used to be so self-sufficient.
I want to point out something though, like, and that's because I was thinking about this. Like, I don't do the same marketing as I did before. Because if you notice, like I still write posts on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's technically also my way of marketing. I still do a lot of video. I still, when we go out to clients, like we had a video shoot last week where we did a video shot with a client. I was there for 5 hours doing video shoots, right? Mm-hmm. That's also marketing.
That's marketing.
So I do a lot of marketing. I just don't do a lot of the performance marketing stuff. Yeah. And I think maybe that's the stuff you really lose touch with. Yeah. Because it's very technical. Yeah. And you have to be on top of your game. I have to do it every day. And that's why, like, not to brag or sell an agency here, but that's typically why people go to an agency is because like that's what our people do all day.
Yeah.
Like Chris, he's fucking doing LinkedIn ads all day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He knows, he sets it up way faster than anyone, right? Same with Peter, our paid search guy. He does it all day, every day. He knows his shit, right?
And that was me. That was the
that used to be us,
search
right?
and the paid SoMe, right? Exactly. And I knew it inside and out. I know this ad won't work. This will work. Here's how we're going to optimize it.
Yeah.
I could forecast how many leads I was expecting per campaign. Like I just knew it so well. Yeah. And now I rely on other people, and they're wonderful, and it's great. But it's just sometimes a little bit sad. The thing that I was so passionate about is.
Do you ever want to go back?
I mean.
So let's put in let's make an unrealistic scenario here. Let's say you could get the same salary as you have today, but you would go back in time and be just a specialist. You wouldn't go back in time because like that would suck. But you know, but you get my point. If you, like
I'd be a specialist, but
you'd
I'd
just
be
be a
same
specialist
salaries.
and you paid same salary because like usually like. With leadership, also salary comes.
Yeah,
in,
and if
right?
people want to grow in salary, that usually means you have to have people reporting to you, and not
a
everyone
little bit of
is,
a weird world, but it's like that, right?
Not everyone's made to have people reporting.
Exactly.
To them.
Anyways,
I think. Okay, so here's the thing. I think this is going to be what is it, rose tinted glasses situation because I do miss it. I do miss feeling that sense of accomplishment, getting that campaign out, seeing how it performed, optimizing it. But the thing that frustrated me then is I had no say in strategy.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I have now where I'm like, this doesn't make sense, and people actually listen to me now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when I was saying this makes sense, people were like, can you just shut up and make me some ads? You
exactly.
know, so
it's exactly the same feeling. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, it's like it's gonna sound so weird, but I've never felt more important or never felt like I had something to contribute with now as much as I do now.
Yeah.
But I've never felt like that my opinion was less valuable than it is now. If that makes sense. Like sometimes when Chris asked, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I'm like, "Great, yeah, dude, you know more about this stuff. Why do you ask me?"
Yeah.
So. I do think one thing I've discovered. So I use Chris here as an egg. So we do a lot of the cases together, him and I. And one of the funny things is about this is that it works really well together. Like, cause like my experience and my knowledge with like overall marketing strategy and what that fits into everything ties really well. And that's the thing with like, and there's nothing against him. He's 22 years old, but he's a young gun, right?
Yeah.
So he's learning the ropes and like all this stuff. So he's very much into the weeds things, but he hasn't taken that step back and said like, okay, what does this do to the business? Like when we do this, what does this mean for all these different things?
Yeah.
So, but teaming up with me, that's a great combination. And I'm guessing it's the same with you and Tice, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like Tice is in the weeds and you're the one who says, okay, but we also have this event over here and this is our positioning and this is our and you take those things into account that he might not be on his radar because like just like we can't have everything, like we can't know everything about everything.
Yeah.
They can't either.
Yeah, and there's certain things that I know are coming. I do sit with the CEO every day almost, and so I'll know things that are happening. I'll say, oh, by the way, this or that, or and I have the ability now to get more budget if we know more budget. I am the person who makes that call. We do A or B, we're gonna do A.
Yeah.
I'll tell B sorry. You know, so I like that I can influence it because before I was just being told what to do. Like I said in one of the previous episodes, I was judged on MQLs. All right, well, I'm gonna get as many email addresses as I can.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. But now I have a say where we can do smart marketing.
Smart marketing.
And but looking at branding, looking at content, looking at SEO, the things that maybe as a performance marketer I didn't really look too much at because I was over here in paid looking at paid conversions and optimizing conversions.
I think if I were in your shoes, and I'm not in your shoes. I can't fit your shoes. But if I were in your shoes, or like I used to have a side hustle before I started SparkForce, right? The side hustle kind of became SparkForce.
Right. Sparkle Horse.
Now my side hustle is like the podcast here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, but everything, like I'm all in on SparkForce. Like that's
you
what
are,
I do, right?
You're always. Living,
But my point
breathing.
is like, if let's say if SparkForce was any other job, if I was still like a head of marketing or something, I would 100% like do some consulting on the side still. And one of the things I really enjoyed from my time when I was at United FinTech and Compliant and Templify and such was that I had this on the side, and I did a lot of cool stuff. I actually kept me quite sharp. because it forced me to think and forced me to sometimes do ads for companies that didn't make sense, or had to work in. I remember I had to work in Soho as a CRM system, which is super shitty. But point is, that kept me sharp. Yeah. So a good solution could be if you're like if you feel like if you're head of marketing or somewhere right now and you're kind of growing. Have a side hustle. Yeah. And one of them could be a consultant where you help companies so you get to do ads. Another side hustle that I really like, I tried it a little bit. I'm just not good at it, I think. E-commerce.
Yeah.
So have like a web shop or something. Like,
I tried that as well.
That's also...
The drop shipping?
Yeah, drop shipping or whatever. Like, doesn't have to be... That's the easiest route, right?
Yeah.
Or like easiest, but...
It was easy to set up, but I haven't made a cent off of it.
Exactly.
I actually spent 8 kroner.
Wow.
Because you can't do it for free on Etsy. Etsy charge you.
Okay.
But I think, I have 2 kids and another on the way, so time is
There's
little
not
bit
a lot
limited.
of time for it, right?
There's not a lot of time for that, and so the podcast definitely helps. And sometimes I think it's cool that you are. Yes, you're a CEO, but you're CEO in a marketing space. Yeah. So you need to know what's going on. I'm in an IoT space. I was talking with one of my
way different.
colleagues today, where it's like I'm an IoT person. I'm not a marketer.
That's true.
And but when you message me like the latest changes of the LinkedIn ads, I'm like, shit, I gotta look up what that is and figure out what that is. So I'm ready for the podcast. So that definitely helps. And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you for that. But I think when we started this podcast, I was going on maternity leave the first time.
Yeah.
And it was like, shit, how am I going to stay sharp, right? And like keeping this
We actually
going.
did this because one of your reasons was like to stay sharp.
I got to stay sharp because I'm going to be off for 16 months.
Funny.
Yeah, if you remember, we stood outside. It was Tech Barbecue 20.
That's how we connected.
20.
Peeps.
Yeah, we both were on the same podcast and we were like, should we
do something here?
This?
Sparks are flying.
Sparks were flying. Spark Force, Sparkle Horse. It all comes full circle. Together. I was actually thinking today, this is sorry, a little bit of a tangent, but there was a point where I was having fake contractions while we were recording a podcast. Oh. I don't know if you remember.
No.
But that was like, it was so deep into my maternity leave that I was having the Braxton Hicks like...
Was it virtual?
Yeah, it was. We did everything remote because it was Corona.
That's true.
The first time we actually met face to face was like a year later or something. But anyway, I do that. And one of the things I've also started is regular sparring sessions with my team.
Yes.
Because that was something that they would find really valuable, and it's also really helpful for me to kind of stay sharp on what's going on, going to conferences again, seeing what other people are doing. But I also think
you have more the classic problem.
I have the classic problem.
Like mine is different. Like I don't think many people have the same problem as I do in a sense. Like yes, of course, some people do. But I think you have more of the like a lot of people are going through what you're going through. Like where the team is growing, like it's a good thing. No, but I think that's way more to some extent normal.
Yeah,
like I see that a lot.
And I think it's very the value I'm bringing is in a leadership role. The value I'm bringing to Onamundo is the strategy, the development, the kind of big picture stuff, whereas you are working in a marketing space.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure your team are knowing the shit hot stuff for all of your clients, right?
Yeah. Well, as an example, after this call, I'm going to go back and pitch, right?
Yeah.
In order to pitch, I'm presenting some of the findings we did, and I did some of the findings, but not all of them. Like some of the findings was a team, so I need to understand what it is they found, right?
Yeah, and how they got there. Yeah.
To be able to talk about it, right? So I think that's a very good point. Yeah. I don't know. I think like it was kind of like I was thinking about it a little bit when you mentioned this topic, and I was like, I used to make fun of people who weren't in touch with marketing.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of them.
My CMO has no idea how to do a Google account. Well, shit.
Oh shit, Sherlock. Here we are.
10 years later.
So I don't have a hat, but I should technically eat a hat now. I feel like this is a hat eating moment. But it is. I do, however, want to say one thing though. Like, I still don't buy the CMOs today that are not at all in touch. Because even when you are now, I think the important part is we both, and it's not to brag on ourselves here, but what we're doing right now is talking about this. And I always have this saying, like, the first part in fixing a problem is recognizing there is one, right?
Yep.
And so we're kind of recognizing that this is potentially a problem, right? Some people would say otherwise, no, it's not a problem. It's just the natural state of things. But I see it as a bit of a problem. It's only going to get worse for both of us to some extent, right?
True.
But so that's the step one, is recognizing there is a problem, and then we're trying to fix it. But I see a lot of these other CMOs who doesn't recognize it as a problem, and I think that I'm more coming to the terms of saying the people who don't see this as a problem, those are the ones that have a bone to pick with.
Those are the problems.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because like the ones who like, hey, have a problem, but might not have a solution.
Yeah.
Like it might be, hey, I'm the CMO for 200 marketing peeps. Like, okay, I get it. Like, how the fuck do you stay? Like, I talked to the CMO of, I think it was like, at that point he was CMO for Microsoft in Middle East, and he had like, I think it was 250 reports or something. Like, fucking, and I don't think it was all direct reports, but you know,
That's
all marketeers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and we're not easy to manage.
We're not easy to manage. And I was like, dude, I get it, man. Like, how is he supposed to?
How do you do? Yeah. How can you look at a pixel?
Because technically, and I'm guessing, like, I don't know the setup they had. This is a long time ago, but I'm like, they probably have agencies below them, right? Like, and maybe the 250 is not even all of them. Maybe there's grunt workers below that or something, right? So. Like, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to talk to the Google ad specialist once a week? Like, come on.
No, yeah.
Like,
and that's big corporations. That's how it is, right?
Yeah, right.
And I think that's a good point of like, it's important to know that there's a problem and I think in startups too, it's easier to do that, right? Like I can poke the Google ads person and be like, hey, talk to me about this setup.
I want to say, I don't know if you find this interesting, but here's an interesting question scenario.
To be determined.
Yeah, okay, good. Do you think that when you move into corporate, and when I say corporate, it means a large organization, right? So not the stuff we're in, but let's say 1,000 plus employees.
Yeah.
Probably even bigger than that. When you move into corporate, do you, because of the nature of it, do you believe you become a worse marketeer?
Ooh.
What's interesting?
That is interesting because I don't think you'll be a worse marketeer as in you'll be making mistakes, but I think rather than a marketeer, you are a people hirer, a recruiter.
Yep.
You set the strategy and you look at numbers, you know, and that's when you have 1,000 people and say 200 of them are direct reports or under you, you don't have time to have qualitative conversations of why did you choose that? You just look at numbers. And I think then that makes you maybe a bit less of a good marketer because we talked earlier with Frederick, lazy marketing, numbers, this number, this number, this number.
Yeah.
And what marketing is it's a qualitative art.
Totally.
It's qualitative. Where are we getting these leads from? Where are the good ones coming from? And that's going to be harder to do the more people and the more initiatives you have running.
Yeah.
I've never been a CMO of an enterprise. I've worked in corporate, when I was at FIFA, very corporate structure, 500 people, but it was very corporate. This is your job. Do your job. And if you want to do more, then you can quit because there is anyone out there who would give their right arm to work in your place. Okay, fine. But it was very, how quickly can I make a decision? Boom. Thank you very much. Let's move on.
I remember when I initially started my marketing career, my dad, I said to my dad, hey, I wanted to work for Coca-Cola. Always liked Coca-Cola. It's on the desk. I'm doing a Coke right now. But I think it's one of the best brands in the world. I always loved Coke. And I said to him, hey, I wanted to work for Coke when I grew up. And he said, why? I was like, what do you mean, Dad? It's a cool brand. Yeah, but you could put a monkey to work at Coca-Cola. It would still do great. Like if you did, and I know no disrespect to the people at Coca-Cola.
You know what? We just lost all the Coca-Cola marketing people. Just unsubscribed. Did you hear that?
No.
oh
shit! I was like, "Are you for real?"
A monkey could do this.
No,
we don't mean.
But I don't mean to disrespect. But like, if literally like a monkey ran Coca-Cola's marketing for a year, you probably wouldn't notice. Like maybe you noticed, but
it's Coca-Cola.
It's Coca-Cola. It would still be around. Would it hurt it over 10 years? Definitely. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying like. It's not the same make or break. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't feel that that's the case. Like same with McDonald's or some of the other ones, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't think it would be as interesting.
No.
To work for a big brand because I really think like in those big brands it's going to be you are just in charge of this thing here.
This only thing.
This is your little part here, and then someone else does
departments.
100%. It's like a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I went from corporate to startup, and that's what I loved about startups is like, I see this thing over here that's broken. I want to fix
liberating.
it. And it's great. It can be a pain in the ass, too.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think you become a worse marketeer.
Yeah.
Said it. I'm here to represent it. I think fundamentally you become a worse marketeer if you work in a large corporate over a large span of time. Are there exceptions? Absolutely. There, you could be in a team where things are moving fast, or maybe like you could work at a big corporate where there's like a small startup within the corporate kind of thing, kind of vibe, or like, hey, we're just doing marketing for the Danish market, so you have free reign to do whatever you want, stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, there's definitely exceptions to what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest exception is probably, I don't think if you move up and become a strategic marketeer, the strategic marketeers and corporates, those I think are good, but there are very few between them. Like,
and the further up you go, then you're probably doing localization, so you'll be in charge of the Nordics. You'll be in charge of EMEA, or like you're not doing everything like we're doing now.
Yeah,
so I think you won't be more well-rounded.
And I don't mean to piss off people, but the best marketeers I've ever met have never been in the corporates.
Yeah.
I met great people there. Don't get me wrong, but the best marketeers I've ever met. I'm really thinking about this now. I don't think I mentioned like 2 or 3, maybe 5, maybe that have been in big corporates that are like, hey, you are really good. Like, you're really good.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but
I'm inclined to agree with you, because I think also, again, I wasn't a marketer when I worked at FIFA.
Yeah.
I was in customer support, but my knowledge of that kind of corporate environment is you're in a box.
Yes.
And the thing with marketers is we like to try new things, especially growth marketers. We want to experiment. We want to try new taglines. Like, we were debating about introducing new colors at Onamundo, and there is some resistance, but we're also like, we're not Coca-Cola. Like, if Coca-Cola was purple tomorrow, people would notice. If we were a little bit purple tomorrow,
who the fuck gives a shit?
we have a great following and we love our followers, but we have that flexibility where we can be bold and we can try new things and we can try to push the envelope a little bit, because we don't have billions of eyes on us. It's like Apple. Apple changed one little thing and people are burning Apple in effigy, and it's like, we don't have that pressure under us. We can play around, and that's what I kind of love about the startup scene, is playing around. But what I worry about is I'm not playing around as much. I'm telling other people, play around and let me know how it goes. But I don't think I'd change it. I think I'd like to have a way, if I could have the ability to still play around in ads, but still go home on time to see my kids and do my job and sit in my 30 plus hours.
I miss I miss the thing I miss the most, and this is not just for I think it's kind of like also from the transition to an agency life. I think the thing I definitely miss the most is the focus. Like the like when I remember when I was at Tempify, and that's actually also because like I didn't have like don't get me wrong, I had a lot of focus at United FinTech, but here I was even managing 8 people or something like at some point. So, but at Tempify, I could like literally just like, hey guys, I'm blocking my calendar today, and I'm just doing this one thing. Building the nurture flows for emails or stuff, right? Like, or hey, I'm just setting up ads or something, and just put some music on and do it. Like, I can't remember the last time I could block a whole day to do stuff like that.
I came in today at 8. I was at my desk for 45 minutes, and then I was just in meetings, and none of them were related to each other. It was like, I'm over here, now I'm over here, now I'm over here. And then
you just work for one company.
I work for one company. Yeah. You have you work for a bunch of companies.
That's a real challenge sometimes. Like that I try to always make sure I don't have client meetings back to back, because like then my mind is gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm in back to back.
I can have back to backs with other things, but as long as I don't have like jumping from one client status to one next status, like that confuses the shit out of me.
I bet it would. Yeah.
So all right.
But I guess we don't really have. Well, I guess let's give some answers. Sparring sessions,
like do a side hustle. Like,
side hustle,
either
if you have the
run
time.
some consultancy or do some e-commerce or some light. I had a friend who did that's pretty ballsy, but he had a SaaS on the side. Like I think that's pretty cool if you can do that. But I think side hustles in general are a good idea to keep you sharp as you keep growing. It also makes you a bit of money if you're good at it. Right?
If you're good at it, yeah.
Can make you.
I was good at my side hustle, but I was very bad at accounting, so I actually didn't make any money because I got fined by the Danish government.
You're such a rookie.
I'm not Danish, and that was a problem. I didn't know that I had to tell the Danish authorities every month that I did not hire someone. No. I thought logic would dictate that I tell you if I hire someone. Oh no, and it was $150 equivalent every month that I did not tell them I still haven't hired anyone. That's dumb, but this is not what this episode is for. But yes, side hustle, sparring with your team.
Get this, Son. This is great. This is a
Son.
great snippet here. I'm just shaking my head.
If you're an accountant and you're cheap, I could have used you a couple years ago.
I got a
You got an accountant. Yeah, I tried to do it on my own. Don't
She's
do it
even
on
called Camilla. You're gonna love it.
your own. Oh my God. What? All the Camillas are great.
Just for reference,
If your
in
name
case
is
you don't-
Camilla, you're
if
the best.
If you're not aware for listening, my wife is called Camilla. Jen's wife is called Camilla.
It's the Camillas.
Yeah.
So if you're called Camilla, automatically you're great. So your accountant must be amazing.
She's great. I love
There
her.
you go. But anyway, side hustle, sparring with your team,
Yeah.
networking.
Networking.
There's a women in marketing group that I meet with.
Doing podcasts, doing webinars.
do a podcast.
One of the things I found to be really valuable for me also, and that kind of goes in the same length, is speaking at events.
Mm-hmm.
But what comes before that is writing on LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn.
Yeah, posting
Because it
on
actually
LinkedIn.
forces me to kind of be sharp about what I post about.
Yes.
If I post about, like I posted about thought leader ads the other day,
Yep.
so I had to make 100% sure that I knew exactly what was the new twist.
See, that's refreshing because not everyone does that. People just talk and they're like, really?
That's me.
Cool. This went on a little longer than possible, but or a little longer than usual. Excuse me, but
I hope you enjoyed
was
it too.
It was a good therapy session.
Good therapy session. I feel good. Yeah,
It's
we
gonna
gotta
be
hold
okay.
hands now.
It's gonna be
Watch
okay.
us.
We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Reach
Thanks
out.
for chilling and listening to the episode today, guys.
And let us know if you have any other
good solutions,
good solutions for as
We're
you
gonna keep
grow.
growing, and we're gonna be worse marketeers for it.
Yeah, we
So
don't want that.
thanks for tuning in.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.